I got you. Yo, Adam.
Yo.
What is the most engaging, yet still improvised segment of things we could say during this pithy intro?
Hey, yo, Peter.
What's up?
I'm Adam Annis.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Daily jazz advice coming at you.
Daily jazz.
Well,
that's the OG slogan.
That's OG. And we're going to go, although this podcast is not released every day anymore, you
not
can
even
consume
close.
it every day.
You could consume
and
it
in
every
fact,
day.
we've heard from many of our dear listeners that they love us, but only in short segments.
You know,
so they might listen to 10 minutes on their commute, and then they say, I'll come back for the next juicy morsel tomorrow.
And hence, daily jazz advice coming at you. That was the original tagline.
Yeah.
And we've had several since. You know what else is coming at you?
What?
Memes from 4 or 5 months ago, Peter.
Really?
Yeah, like the Good Boy Noah, the Hey Yo Peter.
Right.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't know, go check out the Good Boy Noah on Instagram. Shout out to a very funny recipe.
Okay, why is that a meme? See, my understanding of memes is aren't those reels or videos?
It is a reel or video, but it's in meme territory in that it's
meme culture.
Yeah, and that we're saying it to each other. We're using it as a way to express
like a wink,
something.
wink.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, it's very creative. It's good stuff.
Today is our Grammy wrap-up.
That's right.
Grammys are a little bit, for me, Peter, I don't know about for you, but they're a little bit like the World Series. I don't watch it all the time.
Right.
But I kind of want to know the outcome.
That's right.
You know?
That's the same with me. There's a little bit of FOMO with the Grammys because I'm always sort of like, oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not there this year. Or I'm not up. But
it's just a horse race anyway.
Exactly.
It's not a real.
But then I see these uber talented folks, several of which are part of the Open Studio family.
That's right.
Several more of which are friends of the pod or friends of ours. So it is kind of a cool thing. And to me, it sort of restores a little bit of hope when, it's a Geoffrey Keezer winning or a Nicholas Payton as opposed to a Milli Vanilli or something like that.
Yeah.
Or say a Robert Glasper instead of a
Chris Brown.
Yeah. We'll get into that a little later.
Wait, who's Robert Glasper?
Exactly. Who the bleep is Robert Glasper?
Yeah.
But this is kind of cool, and I was just looking. Maybe I'll even throw this up. Big shout out to YouTube. We're on the tube. The YouTubes. Did you know
we'll
that?
see how far this one goes because we'll be playing some music here on Spotify. So.
That's right. Look at that. Jazz winners. And maybe we should start right here with the lovely and talented young Samara Joy who won.
You talk about talented. Holy smokes.
Is this not the story of the Grammys, at least for all jazz lovers?
Yeah, she won Best New Artist. Not Best New Jazz Artist. Best New Artist total.
Right. That's right.
Which is incredible. And well-deserved because she is an electrifying new artist.
That's right.
She won also Best Vocal Jazz Album with Linger a While. And I thought we could start with Round Midnight. Have you heard this, Peter? This is unbelievable.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Yeah, this is Samara Joy's version of Round Midnight.
Moon lights the sky in the dark before the dawn. I sit here in my room, how I sigh for the day that's come and gone. Another lonely day passes by, and a new day's coming on at midnight.
Just the amount of textures and colors she has in her voice is astounding.
Tears I've shed today, you will pause, waiting until tomorrow. Dreams of what could be come close to me timidly. There's a brand new day inside at that time about midnight. Life's a game of chance, and you are just one of the minor players. Look for what you love, the day to come harborsome. Let your eyes put out their at that time about midnight.
Amazing.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I
This
just
is a
wanna-
hard tune.
It's a
It's a hard tune to sing. I
Some sadness.
I mean, the range of it.
Every day is gonna bring some gladness.
The phrasing. This was not written as a vocal originally.
So take what you can.
But she makes it a story.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
At times, don't measure your pleasure in nickels and dimes. Look back on today, and you'll know when you have been unhappy. Fears don't chase away to smite at night have their day. Let your spirit stop the fight at that time about midnight.
I just want to skip
Yeah.
to the end because the end is haunting.
Yeah. So
I'll
we're
think no more about today,
the outro.
Yeah.
for in a while this old day will be yesterday. Alone at midnight in my room, I sit here in the gloom. My dreams take flight round midnight.
Come on. Come on. The sharp 11 on the minor chord?
Yeah. She stays there.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And then comes
man.
off it.
It's so haunting.
As opposed to some kind of unauthentic, holding it on with studio trickery.
She's the real deal.
Yeah,
She's the real deal.
Absolutely. And, I mean, I can say I haven't heard, I've heard her, I got a chance to play with her once, actually.
Oh, cool.
Maybe 6 months ago, so for a
Nice.
private thing in New York.
Yeah.
And she was it was very informal. And I had met her before. She came to see us at the Vanguard, that's right, the year before, and came back and hung and with McBride and everybody. It was just super, humble but present and just, kind of one of the guys and gals. And I hadn't heard her at that point, but this private thing that we were both doing, she was like, "Oh, I'm, really excited to." She's like, she was kind of asking me, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "No, absolutely. What do you want to do?" It was just duo, one song.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, do you know Stardust?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, I do know Stardust." But I was just thinking, I'm like, she's 22 years old. I'm like,
How
I
good
hadn't
is
heard
her
do
Stardust
this.
gonna be?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I knew she could sing.
Yeah.
I knew she could sing, but that's a hard. I mean, in different ways than Round Midnight.
It's a grown-up song.
It's a grown-up song.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just getting grown up enough to play it.
Agreed.
And she did it in I don't remember what key it was, but it was the right key for her.
Yeah.
And she knew her key.
Yeah.
And we did I just kind of laid out the first chord on the introduction, and she came in, and I was like, oh, yeah.
We're good.
It was like,
Yeah.
it was very much, she's an old soul.
Yeah.
You can feel that in her music.
Yeah.
But not in like a corny throwback, I'm going to go do the old school dance and put on a weird outfit kind of thing. There was that youthful energy and exuberance and discovery
Yeah.
that came through in her voice. You can hear that here on Round Midnight as well. And not coming from like an academic corny place either. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a student of the. I mean, yeah, she's a student of the music, I'm sure, but not in a way that I think some of these singers feel like they have to copy different things. And a lot of people are saying like, oh, I've heard some criticism already, like, oh, she's just copying Sarah Vaughan. I'm like, first of all, that's not a put down.
Yeah.
that's not a bug. That's
It's
a
also not
feature.
directly possible.
It's not directly
Yeah.
possible, and if it were possible, what you're trying to insult her with is a compliment. It's
Right.
Like that's what I'm
So
saying.
I'm
It's a
saying like, oh,
feature.
it's just another Stevie Wonder or something.
It's a
yeah.
feature, not a
Another
bug.
Wayne Shorter. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
And to me, she's really, if you're gonna say anyone like on that track, and like I remember when we did the Stardust, I would say more Ella Fitzgerald coming out of that to be accurate anyway. But there's enough different influences, and
Yeah.
I think enough lack of influences. as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is important. Like when you're a young vocalist or just a young musician that's like horn player, vocalist out front, or piano player, whatever, but especially a vocalist, because your instrument is right there. You always have your instrument with you.
Yeah.
To be able to avoid the pitfalls of being like, I'm going to be the next Ella Fitzgerald or Diane Reeves or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to have a certain openness and not to be like attached to any one artist in a way that you're trying to do that. And I think she just, the type of singer, and because her instrument is so robust, her range is so big, it's such a beautiful instrument, and she has so much control and kind of education in how to play that instrument, you can really get, that can be used for kind of some corny things, and she's definitely avoided that. So big shout out to Samara. I'm a fan.
Yeah, me
Can
too.
You tell?
No, she's got it all. She's got the the voice for it, all the technical stuff you would want, all the musical stuff you would want. But you're right. What her probably biggest strength is there's a real genuineness, a real authenticity, a real comfort that she obviously has already at this young age. That is inspiring. I'm inspired by her sound, actually. Like, I listened to this album yesterday all the way through, and it inspired me to pay more attention to my own sound production, because you can tell, like, her sound is such a distinctive part of her voice and a part of making her music effective.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, sound is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
The sound you get.
And this record was produced by Matt Pearson, who I guess I saw him relatively recently, but I mean, we used to work with him back in the 90s because he was the Warner Brothers. He produced Live at the Vanguard,
nice.
Joshua Redman, Freedom in the Groove, Mood Swing. I believe all those records
Ever heard of them?
around that time.
Classics now, yeah.
As well as a bunch of other Brad Meldau's first records.
The Art of the Trio
Art
records.
of the Trio and stuff,
good
yeah.
stuff.
And so, I'm sure he had a lot to do with the sound on this record.
It's a beautiful sounding album.
Yeah.
Like just the right amount of space on the drums. The
Right.
voice is rich, obviously.
And I've heard some, can we talk about a little bit of the mutterings in jazz Twitter and other places that have been happening since she won? Because she won for the best new artist.
Yeah,
and
like not
for jazz vocal album of the year.
Yeah, not the jazz new artist, but like
There is no jazz.
there is
new
no
artist.
jazz.
Yeah,
But like overall best
Yeah.
new artist, which is incredible.
that like Olivia Rodrigo won last
Yeah.
year, and like Milli Vanilli won many years. Not that we're comparing her to
They took
That was
that
a low
away from
point.
them. They took it away from them.
Grammy
Don't
low
forget,
point.
yeah.
But there's been some simmering, maybe resentful kind of things I've heard where people like, well, this is going to be the last jazz record she ever makes now that she's best new artist, she's a star, and kind of some like, oh, too bad, we're going to lose her. And I would just say that may or may not be true. I think Samara has a lot of different things to say. She comes from my understanding of it, more of a gospel background.
Her
in terms of
family
her
or-
family.
yeah.
Like her grandparents had this famous gospel group out of Philadelphia. I remember McBride talking about that. And like, I don't know how directly she was involved with that, but her dad, is a gospel and other other types of style bass player and stuff. I don't think she came up in this strict jazz thing. And I don't see that as a bad thing either. Obviously, she can sing jazz.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to see, if she wants to and has an ear for it, the other things that she wants to do.
Well, remember this time last year we were talking about John Batiste and his sort of like shifting gears a little bit to still definitely like jazz influence. He's a jazz pianist, but like, exploring other forms of music and winning the album of the year.
Right, jump into some other lily pads, right?
Yeah. I'm fascinated by the talk
Lily
around
pads.
Samara Joy and about the next artist we'll listen to, Robert Glasper, about if they're deserving of these major Grammy Awards because they're not mainstream pop acts. People were there were mutterings on Twitter about, who's Samara Joy, famously mutterings on Twitter about who the F is Robert Glasper.
Right.
Because Robert Glasper won
Best straight ahead trio record, right?
No, best R&B album with
Right.
Black Radio 3, and I believe this is
This is the third time he's won in that
I know.
category.
And famously, Chris
How you
Brown took to Instagram to be like, "Who the F is Robert Glasper?" which is hilarious,
Right.
Because how are you a professional musician?
I want him to say, what the F is the You'll Hear It podcast?
I know.
Can we anger him to the point of
That would
doing
be great. That would really help the podcast. But no, and some people were saying, for Samara Joy, and some people
Who
giving.
is Chris Brown, though? On a serious note.
I know.
I
no.
mean,
it's not good, man. It's not good. The whole thing is not good.
the only reason I know him is from headlines with Rihanna or
Yeah.
anyway.
And then Bonnie Raitt won so I believe Song of the Year.
She's back.
And she beat like Taylor Swift and
Taylor
all these
Icey,
all
all the
these
Taylors.
people, right?
Oh, the
And-
Swifties are coming on hard.
And there were a lot of
for
people like, who the F is Bonnie Raitt? 10-time Grammy Award winner, like 30 million records sold or something like that.
and won the Lifetime Achievement Award last year.
No,
Why
Bonnie
make
Raitt, a
short
legend. You know
what is this when they say like, oh, everyone's got Wikipedia and a computer in their pocket,
Yeah.
yet we still fall into
I know.
who is this?
Well, it's
Google
funny.
her.
It brings up a good,
Google her.
a good, there's never this kind of talk around the Oscars when there's like an art house film that does really well. People are like, oh yeah, it's just a great film.
Who the F is Martin Scorsese?
Nobody's like, Steven Spielberg is 70 years old. He shouldn't even be in the conversation. It's not relevant. You know what I mean?
know, it is
But
weird.
people say that about Bonnie Raitt. I think young people take for granted that music is not just a sort of like fashion competition or
Right.
even like a style competition.
Right.
But there can be great art made well into
Or a popularity thing.
or yeah, it's not even
like
a
where you're
popularity
just
thing.
social media star.
Also, I don't think people understand how the Grammys are voted upon. If they knew the music nerds that are voting on these things,
Right.
because have you ever been to a local Grammy chapter meeting?
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been to
I've
several.
voted for years,
I
I
did
think.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just musicians, like
Right.
studio musicians, professional musicians. Of course, they're going to vote for Bonnie Raitt and Samara Joy.
Yeah.
Like they know what's up.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Well, I mean, and I think the intersection between this award and also like Album of the Year, that has, the Venn diagram between jazz albums and these really big time awards is only every few years. I think Esperanza Spalding was the last time a so-called jazz artist won the Best New Artist, and that was probably 10 years ago.
At
right?
least 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you have like Herbie Hancock with
River.
was that River? That for the
Joni
album of
Letters,
the year.
Album of the year. Yeah.
But there's
John
been some-
Batiste.
John Batiste. I mean,
Obviously,
it happens.
Robert
and-
Glasper is poking his head in and out with the Black Radio stuff for the R&B category.
with the R&B
Yeah.
category, right? So I mean, I like it when artists, and not just that we know, but we know are talented musicians that have a following, but that really care about their art and their craft, like what we're about to hear next with Robert Glasper. And it's just kind of a fun addition that there's the jazz crossover, but this is not like one of his jazzy records.
No, it's Black Radio 3, man.
It's Black Radio 3.
You know what
which
you're
is-
getting at this
which
point.
is just like Black Radio 2, only a little
Yeah.
better, which is just like Black Radio 1.
Well, let's listen to it. This is Play Better Than I Imagined, featuring her and Michelle Indegliocello. Her. Just a little taste. You'll get the vibe. It's really good.
Did Glasper ever hear Dilla? Jay Dilla, you think?
I wonder.
I'm gonna send him.
I wonder.
I'm gonna text him a track so he can.
I wonder if Chris Brown's ever heard of Chris Dave.
I know.
Her is really good.
I'm gonna send Glasper Chris Dave's number too. I think they could hook up and really do some cool stuff together.
So we don't have to play this. This is 15 million listens on.
Really?
Yeah, this is a big. It's a big.
That's
song.
a nice track. I mean, I've
yeah.
I've vibed out to that, and it's Glasper. We're big fans of
Big
Robert
fans.
Glasper. Kind of whatever he does, like he brings an authenticity to his music. What was the last thing we saw? We saw he was like introing Justin Lee Schultz.
That's right.
On the thing.
Yeah, at the
that was
Blue
like
Note.
his gig.
Yeah.
And we were looking at the OGs React to IGs thing, and Glasper's there, like, recording him. But like Glasper is a very, I mean, he's one of the most talented musicians of our generation that's coming from the piano or anywhere.
Yeah.
And so we have a special affinity for him because we know him, but also just because he's a jazz piano. I mean, just like some of the other artists with Keezer, we're going to come across.
It's been fun to watch Robert Glasper's career. We're about the same age because his thing is now copied so much that it's like part of the, like when you hear him play it, you're like, oh, that's the Glasper. Oh, that's Glasper himself. Like I was,
Right.
you're like, oh, that's that Glasper shit. Oh, that's Glasper.
To see the world discover him,
Yeah.
kind of, and it hasn't
Yeah.
really been slowly because he's had some these breakout really big records.
Yeah.
But all of his, he's a Renaissance guy, so like he's one of the funniest musicians I think that I've ever met. He's super
easily
like,
the one of the funniest.
well, he's in the group.
Top 5
I like to
funniest,
say
yeah.
I've
You want to be in there too?
Yeah, I want to be in there. And of course, that's a sure sign that you're funny when you nominate yourself for being one of the funnier musicians. No, but he's also witty and like super quick.
He is quick.
Which we pride ourselves on as jazz pianists as being that. But that's been fun for people to see that. I don't know if they saw that fully until recently. I don't know if you saw the Trevor Noah, and I would recommend that you can look
The
it up on
interview
YouTube.
with Trevor Noah.
Interview with
it's really
Trevor
good.
Noah, because
he can hang with Trevor Noah.
he can hang. It's kind
amazing.
of like we're talking about musicians that play sports well. We think they're good until they get around real athletes.
Yeah.
Musicians we think are funny and they get around real comedians. He actually hung, and that was a super funny, not only interesting interview,
Yeah.
but super funny too. And that's got to be intimidating, being up there
He's-
with one of the greatest comedians in the world.
Oh, you see him,
Come on.
but you see him hanging.
He didn't have a piano there.
He can hang humor-wise with like real people who are good at this. Don Cheadle, there's some great footage of him and Don Cheadle doing some bits.
Right.
Even Chappelle and Chris Rock, there's
Right.
footage of them hanging, and it's amazing, man.
Right.
You're right. I love the speed thing because he's super fast. He's got just a quick wit and a quick mind.
Yeah.
Musically and otherwise.
Yep.
Speaking of a beautiful mind, our buddy, Open Studio Artist.
Yes.
And now this isn't just like he's made a course for us or whatever. Like, he is regularly engaged with the Open
Yes.
Studio community, and he's one of our primary artists. He is a brilliant pianist, and one of our favorite people, Geoffrey Keezer,
Yes.
won a Grammy.
Won his first Grammy. He's
His
been
very-
nominated a bunch. I didn't realize he hadn't won, so this is cool.
It's amazing, man. And he gave a beautiful speech. I don't know if you've seen it yet. He just posted that late last night or last evening.
Up there just for variety too, because he won in this category that was part of their kind of realignment a few years ago. Where does it say? Best Instrumental Composition.
Yeah.
And this is such a cool record. This is from Playdate, right?
Yeah, we just actually we listened to this a week ago today in the Open Studio listening sesh.
Yep.
We listened to Playdate. We had Geoffrey on the Zoom talking about making it. This is the opening track. This is Refuge. This is gorgeous. By the way, featuring St. Louis's own Shedrick Mitchell here on the B3.
Okay.
Refuge. Check this out. I love the texture of the harp and the strings.
I know that. I know you like that transition.
I love this so much, man.
Is that something that would interest you?
It's so interesting. It's Ron Blake on the tenor saxophone.
That's some Keezerism right there.
How good is that? I just want to give a quick shout out to an old friend, Aaron Novitzi, who is the mixing engineer on this. We went to college together at the New
nice.
School way back in the day. He's a great guy, one of the founders of the Bunker Studio in Brooklyn, one of
Yes.
the great studios in New York City currently. And I think he did a phenomenal job, which must have been just a monstrous mix to deal with. I mean, think about it. You got a full string section, you got a horn, you got a harp, you got piano, bass, drums, percussion, and B3, and tenor saxophone on top of it all. Like it's a big deal. The record is beautiful, and all the string mixes are gorgeous. And, and the writing too on this, the string writing is as good as it gets, in my opinion, of blending the rhythm section with the strings and how it works. I think Geoffrey did a brilliant job with the whole album, actually, but this tune, rightfully so, deserved the Grammy for the best instrumental song.
Yeah, and I just want to jump back to here. You can go pick this up on. You better do this quick because this should and will change. But Playdate, this fantastic record, you can download this right now for $6.
Go do
That
it.
is the bargain of just do that.
On Bandcamp,
you can get the CD too and the vinyl, which we have here. Right,
yeah, we do have the vinyl here. All the money with Bandcamp goes directly to the artist, or a very, very small fee taken out. So it's kind of the most efficient way to get your
and
funds.
You get these
to
high
support.
quality, FLAC. It's not just MP3s available on there.
Yeah, it's good
But it's a fantastic record, and
100%.
big shout out to Keys.
Yep. Well, that's it. We're going to go out here with...
didn't we have one more?
We have one more, but we're going to go out with the one more. It's Respected Destroyer. This was the best instrumental album.
Right, from Terry Lynn.
From Terry Lynn Carrington, featuring Nicholas Payton, friend of the show.
Yep.
This is a great album called New Standards Volume 1.
But before we go out on that, wait, let me just pull this up here, because this was actually... No, this was Best Jazz Instrumental Album.
Best Jazz Instrumental Album, yeah.
That's sorry. Terry Lynn with Chris Davis, Linda May, Han O, fantastic bassist, Nicholas Payton, and Matthew Stevens.
Yep. Great group.
We just want to shout out a couple other folks here. We got Ulysses Owens, one of our favorite drum instructors here at Open Studio, an amazing artist.
Yep.
Who won with Stephen Feifke and what was that? The big band thing, right?
Yeah, the Gap.
Generation Gap
Jazz Orchestra.
Absolutely.
Yep. I almost said the Gap Band, which is a whole other thing. Yeah.
Which Ulysses is an integral part of the process and everything with that band. John Beasley, who won for... So I'm just like, this is too many people that are part of the fam here. What did he win for? Arrangement for the Charlie Parker
Best
thing.
arrangement,
With the,
for Scrapple from the Apple.
Right. Yeah. With the SWR big band. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah, and John Beasley is actually, he's going to be doing a masterclass with us.
Yes.
A week from Friday.
Yep.
You know, one more thing with the Keezer thing with the Refuge. In his speech, he thanked Wayne Shorter, Donald Brown, and Billy Childs, his biggest living compositional inspirations. Couldn't you hear that? Could you hear some Billy Childs in that?
Absolutely.
Orchestration and everything?
Well, and it's such a cool thing because some people might be like, well, why didn't he win his first Grammy for like just a ripping jazz trio thing?
Yeah.
Which he certainly could and will and should. But I think that I love this when they kind of get something right. Best instrumental composition. I didn't listen to everything else in the category, full disclosure. But I can tell you one thing.
There's good stuff.
Keezer,
Miguel Zanon was nominated.
Yeah, it's going to be great
yeah.
stuff. But I'm saying, like, to say that Keezer is not one of our greatest instrumental composers out there doing this now, on this fantastic self-produced, I believe it's self-produced record, and, so that's a fantastic thing. Also, big shout out to Bobby McFerrin, who, among many other folks, got a Lifetime Achievement Award.
That's right.
I mean, how did he not have one before now?
Yeah, well, he got one now.
I mean, he won Record of the Year.
Him and Nirvana and Heart.
We saw it, Henry Mancini handing it to him.
That's right, yeah.
Snarky Puppy won for something. It's always fun to see them. Oh, Best Contemporary Instrumental Album. At first, I thought it was Contemporary Christian Instrumental Album. I was like,
they went a different route.
And who else? Oh, Terrence Blanchard. I'll just throw this up one more time. This is our...
we played this opera.
Absolutely. Well, you played it. I played at it. Fire Shut Up in My Bones. You played the premiere of it.
I did play the premiere.
Best Opera Recording. I believe that's with the Metropolitan Opera. Isn't that what he did with the Met? Yeah.
They did it with the Met. I guess they didn't want to do it here.
So these are more kind of,
your loss?
Yeah. Intersection of jazz and big time awards. So that's cool. So we're going to go out on Terry Lynn Carrington, Nicholas Payton, Chris Davis.
This is Respected Destroyer. And till next time.
We're Grammy positive. You'll hear it.
I'm in Steamboat Springs, Colorado currently.
I'm in Indianapolis.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Andrew, hi.
Because I feel inspired to play something else from your playing.
Okay, that's great.
I think using the metronome is a great tool, but it's not the only tool.
All of the answers are really in the music.
What does it mean to live in a groove, be in a groove?
Until next time, happy practicing.